So we all know that the cost of living is out of control. And so when people say you need to save more money, how is that even possible? Well, we are going to show you guys exactly how it is. Because on our journey towards financial independence and retiring early, we saved 70% of our income by doing the things we are going to talk about in this video. And we know that if we can do it, you can do it. Hey guys, Zaman
and Christina
from Our Rich Journey. Today we are talking about one of the pillars of financial independence, and that is saving more money.
So if you can focus on aggressively saving your money, the quicker you can get to financial independence. And this is really important because did you know the average American family has less than $10,000 in savings, and nearly 40% of families can't even cover an unexpected $400 expense without borrowing or using a credit card. So when you are saving 70% of your income like we did, you're not only building a safety net, you're also dramatically speeding up your journey to financial independence. Every dollar you save is one step closer to freedom.
So one of the things you will often hear us talk about when we're talking about pursuing financial independence is increasing your savings rate. We use this term 70% of your income, 50% of your income. This is all a percentage that is calculated to determine how much of your income you are saving. And the higher you can increase this rate, the faster you can achieve your personal finance goals.
So your savings rate is simply the percentage of your income that you're able to save, invest, or use to pay off debt. And it's not just about the money you're putting into a savings account, it also includes the money you're using to invest in the stock market, retirement accounts, or like I said, even paying down debt. So to calculate your savings rate, take the amount you're saving, investing, and using to pay down debt and divide it by your total income. So if you are saving $35,000 out of an income of $50,000, your savings rate is 70%. And this is the key to reaching FIRE faster. The higher your savings rate, the quicker you can build wealth.
So I know for a lot of you, the idea of saving 70% of your income just sounds completely out of reach, totally unfeasible. Well, we didn't start out saving 70% of our income. It took some time for us to get there. And we did it by practicing something called getting 1% better. What we did was that 1 month, we just tried to save 1% of our income. The next month, we tried to add on another percent. So by the end of a year, we were saving 12% of our income. By practicing this strategy, we eventually got to 70% of our income, but focus on just getting 1% better. If you wake up tomorrow and just all of a sudden try to save 70% of your income, it will be very, very painful and likely not sustainable. But if you can do it in baby steps and do it 1% a month, you can get there.
So you can really do this by focusing on 3 large expenses: housing, transportation, and food. So let's start with housing because for a lot of people, that can be their largest expense. When we were on our FIRE journey, we house hacked so that we were living rent and mortgage free. We did this in several different ways. So we rented out our home on Airbnb. We also downsized. Another time we got jobs where our employers paid for our housing. And when I was in law school, when we lived in family housing through my law school, we worked as resident advisors and got free housing. So in all of these different scenarios, we didn't pay a mortgage, we didn't pay rent, we were finding ways to live rent and mortgage free.
Now imagine that. Imagine what percentage of your income you could save if you didn't have a housing expense. That was us for so many years on this journey because housing makes up a huge percentage of your expenses. For some people, it represents 50% of their income. Imagine taking 50% of your income and all of a sudden being able to invest that in the stock market, being able to pay off debt, being able to put more into your savings account. This is the power of addressing your housing expense first.
Next is transportation. So for years, we were driving used, older cars and we would pay them off. We did not try to keep up with the Joneses. We knew that transportation could be a big expense. So again, it was always focused on used but reliable cars.
Now, your transportation, your car payment can represent a huge percentage of your expenses. So imagine not having that expense every single month because you've totally paid off your car or you're driving a used car for a very long time. You know, if you really want to lower this expense, not having a car at all is a huge way to save money because you are avoiding gas, tolls, parking, insurance, all of these things. Unfortunately, a lot of people are not in that situation where they can do without a car. But if you can certainly expedite your journey and increase your savings rate. And I have to say something about the cost of new cars. Prices are totally out of control. You cannot find a new car for less than $30,000 these days. Cars are averaging $50,000 to $60,000 for a car. And those car payments are out of control, $1,000 a month for a car payment. This is what is truly holding people back financially.
And finally, food. Now, this is a sneaky one that can really add up fast, but we are strong proponents of meal prepping and cooking at home. So on our FIRE journey, instead of eating out all the time, we really planned our meals ahead and we bought in bulk.
Now, the thing about food is that if you are not planning your meals out, if you are walking into a store on an empty stomach, if you haven't thought about what you're going to be eating that night, these types of things will cost you a lot of money because at this point, you are making hungry, hasty decisions. You just want to eat and you're not thinking about how much it's going to cost you. If you do the proper meal planning and you are intentional about how you go about buying your food, you can save a lot of money in this area.
So I do want to focus on one thing because I think some of you can be thinking right now, it can be really hard to save money when you see the cost of things continuing to rise. We know inflation is real and you really have to address that as part of your savings rate. And by addressing that, what you do is focus on what you can control. And by this, I mean focus on impulse spending and discretionary expenses.
And also, don't forget, the best way to beat inflation is to out-invest inflation. You know, a lot of people are not investing. And if you are not investing, then your money is losing value to inflation. So investing in low-cost index funds, in real estate, having your money in a high-yielding savings account, these are different ways to beat inflation. So now let's talk about smart ways to cut unnecessary expenses. Because there may be some people out there that say, I just don't have any room to cut. I am living paycheck to paycheck. I can't save any money because there's nowhere to save. Well, I challenge folks that say that by asking them one question. Do you have a budget? And are you intentional with that budget? I guess that's two questions. But my point is that if you really want to cut unnecessary expenses, you have to know how you are spending your money. And there's no better way to do that than by tracking your spending and creating a budget.
So budgeting is all about going through your expenses and finding those little leaks, those unnecessary things that you don't even realize are costing you money. So once you start paying attention, you might notice subscriptions you forgot about, gym memberships you don't use, or impulse buys that add up. You can cancel those and redirect that money towards savings. And remember, you're not using a budget to cut out every single discretionary expense. You have to find a balance. You want to be intentional about spending on things that bring you joy. So we ask ourselves, does this expense really make us happy? If it doesn't, we cut it out, but we do spend on what matters. So we like things like travel, family experiences, things that enrich our lives.
Now, earlier we talked about just getting 1% better, and a budget can help you do that. It's the statistical analytical way to find that 1%. And if you are interested in a budget like that, you should check out the free resources that we have at ourrichjourney.com. We have a budget there that shows you how much you are saving. It will calculate your savings rate. And you can use that budget to get 1% better.
So once you've developed your budget and you're tracking your expenses, we have two specific tips that can help you save more effectively. First is converting your dollars into time, and second is managing your online spending habits. So let's talk about the first thing, converting your money into time. So converting your dollars to time means figuring out how long you need to work to afford a big purchase. So by translating the cost of an item into work hours, you can make more mindful decisions about spending. So for example, let's say you make $50 an hour and you want to buy a $500 gadget. That means you would have to work 10 hours in order to purchase that gadget. So converting dollars to time is really a way to help you analyze what is the true cost of something. How does it impact your life? And it can help you think twice before splurging on certain items.
Now, I also like to go a step further and think about, instead of buying that $500 gadget, what would happen if I invested that $500? Because on the other hand, the dollars invested, that means you are taking time back, which is what we are all about, that freedom of time.
So let's talk about the next thing, which is managing your online spending habits. You can do this by first removing your credit card information from online sites, and second, by removing your credit card information from your phone.
Ooh, that digital spending, that digital cash. People use their phones like they don't have to pay for it. I think it's worse than a credit card, because with a credit card, you still have to go through the motion of going in your purse or in your wallet, taking the credit card out, actually deciding which credit card you're gonna use. But with the credit card on your phone, things like Apple Pay and all of these things, you just tap your phone and you walk out of whatever store. It makes it too easy. When we say remove these things from your phone or from these websites, we're not saying don't buy things online. We're saying don't make it so easy. Create a little bit of an obstacle between your money and that thing that you are trying to spontaneously purchase.
Now, these are things that we talk to our students. These are different tasks that we have our students do in our 365 Days to FIRE program. We talk about saving money, making money, and of course, investing money, along with a ton of different information to have people build a solid and unique FIRE plan. If you are interested in learning more, make sure you check out 365daystofire.com. We will also leave a link to that program in the description below.
So these are some of the tips and tricks that we have for saving more money and increasing your savings rate to get to that 70%. But there is one thing that we are going to be talking about in upcoming videos that is the secret sauce to getting to that 70%. I mean, you could probably even go higher than 70%. And it is making more money. That was the secret recipe for us. We found ways to make more money, and every dollar that we made more of, it didn't go towards spending it, it went towards saving and investing it. And that is how we got to 70%. And so we are gonna share with you guys in the next video how to make more money. And so we hope that you use this video to start to think intentionally about how you save money and your savings rate and how it's related to FIRE. And stay tuned for the next video. And as usual, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and join the journey.